Hello and welcome to this demo video for the multiple staff diary. Now what this is, it's essentially diaries for up to 10 staff so that you can combine, you can see a combined calendar as well as assign tasks and switch them from staff member to staff member. So this will be ideal in a situation where you're offering consultations of some type, I would imagine, and it doesn't really matter which consultant they speak to. So if you see someone's getting too full, you can just switch over a meeting to another consultant, that kind of thing, where you've got one person managing all the diaries. Alternatively, for a lot of other businesses you don't necessarily do that. I've had a lot of requests from people who say they want to sit down with their staff, have a staff meeting, assign tasks to all the different staff so everybody knows what everyone else is up to, and then actually have a combined calendar potentially even showing on a screen in the office or something like that. So this will do both of those things. So I just want to show you how it works, and then you can really apply that to whatever kind of application you need and see if it'll work. First and foremost, your staff name. So we enter your staff names in on the intro and setup tab. Don't put any duplicate names in, obviously. These numbers here are just to let you know which tab at the bottom that particular person's calendar is on. So those are the staff names. You can just list them there. And then you can categorize your tasks. So all the tasks that you put in, you're going to have to assign to a category. This will determine the color that it shows up in, and it also produce some reporting. So you can list all the different categories of tasks. It might be a meeting, it might be a consultation, it might be whatever it is that you know your business, you'll have categories. Just make sure that you have at least one other here that just says other or sundry or something along those lines, because you may have a situation where you might get the odd task that doesn't fit into one of these categories, and you will need to assign each of these, you will need to assign each task to a category. So make sure you've got the right categories. Again, don't put in any duplicates. Bank holidays, read this at the bottom there. If ever a bank holiday changes, 99 times out of 100 this will stay blank. If for some reason a bank holiday changes, say if for some reason the Queen changes a bank holiday or from one day to another day because of some or another reason, whatever the case might be, you can put in the original bank holiday in here with the year and everything, and then put the new bank holiday, and it'll just switch it. Otherwise, it's quietly calculating in the background where the bank holidays are. So if no bank holidays change, just ignore that. Closed. Are you closed on Saturdays and Sundays? Are you closed on Sundays only? Is there no closure? Select which one applies to you. Bank holidays. Are you open or closed on bank holidays? And when do you normally start and when do you normally close? Now this will show up, it'll stop you from booking appointments outside of your closure time. So if for some reason some of your staff maybe aren't there on a Wednesday and others are on a Wednesday, make sure, or Saturday or Sunday, make sure that it's open to accommodate everybody. So if you put close on a Sunday, you're not going to be able to input any tasks for a Sunday. If for argument's sake you're open from 9 to 5, but maybe on a Friday you close at 4 or whatever the case might be, put 9 to 5. It doesn't matter if you show it as open. The reason why I've got this in here is just to calculate roughly how much time you're spending on tasks if you have a task that goes over from one day to the next. So it doesn't count all the hours when you're actually closed. That, and it'll show up in gray, and it'll stop you from inputting appointments. So put this as the most open kind of thing. So if some days you open at 9, other days you open at 8, just put it in 8. Put it in as any time that you are particularly open. So if you never open before 8, then put 8 in as an opening time, that kind of thing. So make sure you've got the extremes as far as open as often as you possibly could want to work. I think that's all on the settings tab. Once you've set that up, you can go to your task list. Now your task list is the tab that drives everything else on this sheet. And each line is to do each task. So what I'm going to do is let me add in a new task. Today we're currently on the 30th of January. So these tasks were done yesterday. Those are presumed complete. If you come here and tick it off, all it does is it just changes that color, slightly different green, and says complete, complete. The reason why I've done that is because I didn't want you to have to come and tick each and every task off to say complete, complete, complete. It just presumes it's complete if you go beyond it. The red ones are the ones that are currently active. The yellow ones are the ones that are starting later today. Let's put in a task for tomorrow and see how this works. So if I put in test task 13. You can put whatever description you want here that'll show up on the individual calendars, not the combined calendar, but the individual ones. Then you categorize that task. So what is that task? Now these are the categories I've selected on the front tab. You can change them. You can put your own ones in. As I said, if you're going to put in, for example, a planning meeting tomorrow, then it says, well, who's involved? So now you can select the person who's involved. If there are a few people involved, you would need to put in a few lines in order to actually put in one for each person. I thought of doing it across the top and having ticking off who was involved, but that just causes other issues with the spreadsheet. So you need to put in multiple entries. So if you've got, for example, Roger who's involved in that, let's put in the 31st of January, Friday, from, if we put in 7 a.m. to 10, it flags up and says that one there is closed. So you can't put one in for 7 because we said we're only open at 9. So if you put in from 9 to 10, if there are no errors up here, you're doing well. If you put in, put in on a bank holiday or something, it's going to flag up again to say it's closed. If you put in from 9 to 8, so you're going backwards, it flags up to go as negative time. You can't have that. If you were to put in, for example, if we were to just change one of these ones here, we've got Roger there, we've got Colin. Let's put that also as Roger. Now it will flag up to say, no, these two times are overlapping. You can't have Roger doing two things at one time. So any of these warnings pop up, you can look at what the number is up here, what the warning is, and you'll be able to tell what's going on. But if you filled in everything, you got no warnings, that's all good. If you want to end the task, so if this task starts on Friday the 31st, but actually ends on Monday the whatever it is of February, then you can put the date in there and it'll carry that task over to the new date and it'll show it, but it'll stop when you close and it'll restart again when you open. So only put in the end date if the end date differs to your start date. And then when the task is done, if you want to, you can simply tick them off. As we've shown here, it doesn't really matter. It just changes the color and shows that it's been confirmed that it's complete. But you as a team can decide whether you want to confirm they're complete or not, because it really doesn't matter from the spreadsheet's point of view. And this will drive everything. You can sort by these columns. If you want to sort, you can sort by any particular data, names or start dates, or whatever else the case might be. But this will then determine what goes onto the calendar. The calendar is very simple. You just click on the tab, and there it is. Scroll down, you can see this was yesterday because I've overridden the date with yesterday's date. If I leave this blank, it will automatically show the current date. There you can see that's where we are now. So you can see what's happening, who's got what planned at that particular time. And this will move down as you go throughout the day. And also, if you leave that blank, it'll show today's date. If you want to override and you say, actually, we come in the morning, you go, listen, we want to recap on what happened yesterday. You just put in the date that you want to see, and it will bring that date up automatically. As you can see, it's grayed out when you closed. If it were a bank holiday, this whole thing would be grayed out because you say you don't work on bank holidays. So that's a combined calendar. The individual calendars are exactly the same, but it's for each individual person. So if we go on the combined calendar, we can see Roger had something to do today. Let's go and find Roger's one. There we go. So you can see there, Roger's got that meeting. It gives the information, the task description as well there, so you can see what's actually going on for each of those staff members. This is also handy. I did these on individual tabs. I wasn't going to do them on the same tab and just let you select which staff member you wanted to see, but I've done them on individual tabs. So if each of your staff have got access to the spreadsheet, they can have it on their particular tab so they can see what they're up to. If you want to overwrite a day, simply put the date in that you would like to see, and it'll overwrite the current day. We've also got an archive list. This is merely because you might not want to have a whole whack of tasks on here that have all been done, and you might go, actually, I want to get rid of some of these tasks. If we want to get rid of the tasks, it's very simple. We just highlight those that we want to move across, like that. Right-click, copy. Notice I've only done under the red headers, not the rest of this. I come here, right-click, paste values. Not normal paste. Normal paste, as you can see, will cause all sorts of issues. because it pastes all the formatting and everything across. You don't want to do that. You want to do paste values. And when you paste values, you can come back to the task list. You can right-click, clear contents, and then you can just sort by the start date again, oldest to newest. And it's got the tasks in order, and you've now moved those over to the archive list. So what does that mean? Well, very simply put, when you go to the report, you can see your current breakdown of task time. This is how many hours based on each task, and that's what is in the archive list. So you can see two different graphs, one for the archive and one for the current. That's your current breakdown of all the different people and what tasks they've got to do in the current list. And this is what tasks, how many hours, what time of each different task each different person has done in the archive. The reason why I've done the archive is because your current list only has 2,500 rows. So if you kept adding onto that, eventually you're going to run out. Whereas your archive list has got 7,500, so you can really archive all the old tasks in here. Just simply copy and paste values. If you have one of these tasks, or if you have a group of these tasks and you get, actually I want to repeat those tasks again, or you want to put them back into the live thing, or whatever, you want to repeat them and just change the dates, you can then just do what I did earlier, copy, come here, paste values, just do it the other way around, and then you've got them back in here and they'll become live again, and then you can edit them. As you can see over here, it shows the little number. That number is based on the person to show you which tab they're on. So if you say, well, actually, I'd like to see that task that's currently busy there, it says tab 5, and there you go, you've got tab 5. So I think that is all self-explanatory. I hope that you understand how that works. Really, it's just this task list which drives everything. Make sure you set it up correctly first. Task list will drive everything. So this is where you update the task, make any changes to times and dates that go to staff members. If you want to change a staff member, just simply come drop down list, change the staff member. If this list starts to get full or you want to get rid of tasks, you can archive them here. If you don't want to archive them, just simply highlight the ones you want, clear contents, and resort, and the tasks are gone. They're not on the system anymore, if that's what you prefer. If you want to archive them so you can see what time's been spent on each task, then do that. The report will update automatically with all your information, and these calendars per staff will all update accordingly. So I hope that makes sense to you, and I hope that it helps you with your business. And if it does, I wish you all the best for the spreadsheet. Thank you very much.